Hello, what's up everyone? Thoughts on GenG? It's an overall downgrade, let's be honest. The main worry that I have is... Actually, I have like two worries, I guess, and it's not massively like a worry of them being like a decent team, because they're going to be a decent team, but I think it's just Foxy9 on Sentinel, his anchoring is something they need to work on. I think on attack he's very good, but anchoring seems a bit odd, or like something that he has to work on. And then the second thing is, getting Yeoman when you already have Munchkin is odd. They have less firepower, and I think losing Lakia, I think they were always gonna gain firepower, but somehow they have got less firepower. But I still think the team could be really good. So, but I think it's just that's like my only concern, really. I guess is that Yeoman doesn't have firepower. He has an okay amount of firepower, but it's like it's probably on the same levels as Lakia, I would say. That's probably the thing. And then you would say that Foxy9 doesn't have as much firepower as Meteor, so they lose firepower. Like, Yeoman's not exactly a crazy fragger. Let's be straight honest. He does okay fragging. And a lot of times that's tier 2 as well. So it's interesting. But that's like my only concern. But again, in a right environment, and maybe doesn't have to focus as much as IGLing. Maybe he can frag heavy. You can't say that when he's IGLing. Yeah, and but that's all we have to go off of. So we kind of can. This goes back to the whole super team conversation we were talking about the other day, and like why Heretics won a super team last year, and like the whole Mimi conversation is that for it to be a super team, it has to be like proven talent, and Yeoman, and like you have to go off of what you've seen, what you've seen already proven. And Yeoman, we've only seen him IGLing, so we don't know how his actual fragging is. That's a question mark. Talked about the MiBR Aspas stuff. I mean, it's a good pickup for them. It'll be interesting to see how the team actually, like, how they do. It'll be interesting to see how everyone kind of ranks them, because at the end, MiBR looked alright. And then, what's the rumors? Aspas and Nozma, right? Could actually be a pretty decent team. I don't know how they got him, man. He must have got a crazy contract, like... I don't know enough about MiBR, but I didn't think they had like insane amounts of money. So I guess they probably went down a contract route of just like big percentages of in-game skins and stuff. Fnatic Aspas. Fnatic would have just kept Durka if they had money. I've seen Sunset in game yesterday. Yeah, we played it a little bit yesterday. It's interesting. It's definitely Sayf is definitely worse over towards B now. Holding back side looks a little bit stronger, but then people are just going to plant under. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. B main's pretty hard to hold of. I think at the moment, I don't know. I'm pretty chamber pilled. I think chamber's pretty good at the moment. Vice wall over towards B is probably pretty legit. Killjoy maybe could be alright now, especially against Gecko stuff if they're trying to plant in the corner. Molly's at the back. Rumors are saying that Aspas gets to pick the players. Dude, how much money are they spending then? Like, honestly. Sounds like a crazy amount of money. But I think, okay, well, he's going to get Nozma then, because he said he wanted to play with him again. I don't know, I think they could build a pretty legit team. I wonder if they're getting, like, a little bit nervous of 2027, and the fact that Riot are going to reevaluate who's in their league. So, I see a lot of teams this year spending money. You'd assume Fraud is a decent amount of input. Yeah, they're probably building it together. Again, Fraud is a proven legit coach who has been in teams that has discovered the meta before other teams, or something that is like very strong before other teams. So you mix that with some good players. MiBR probably, maybe they won't get underrated just because it's Aspas, but might be able to build something pretty good. Potter can fix, yay. Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I don't want to judge too much from... That team sounded like it was a bit of a nightmare anyway. In terms of bleed. I wouldn't judge too many people from bleed. Because even like, I know the coach gets a lot of stick, but even if you looked at all of the stuff that Bleed were doing in the actual qualifiers, like Bleed had some really cool stuff. So, yeah, I don't want to judge too much from that actual year of Bleed. But yeah, I have faith in Ye. Dude, I know that maybe he doesn't want to play Chamber, but the Chamber is very legit at the moment, and you're getting some good Chamber good Chamber maps. I would at least put him on a few of them. What's the current EG rumor? Because you're saying Crash EGA, and then who would you keep in that team? Superman did good. You would probably keep Nature, like IGL wise, because Derek did really good. Sim, Nature, Derek, Ye, Superman. Sim, Ye, Derek. Sim? Why is Sim not registering in my brain? ESM. He's not the Neon. Is he the Neon? Oh, chat. Who's the other cracked guy that was in TSM? I thought that didn't they have like a 17-year-old that's cracked? Who's 7? Am I thinking of the right team? I feel like I'm fully wrong. Okay, 7's in that team as well. Isn't it like 7 was like the main guy and then Sim's pretty good? 7, really? So Sim's better than 7? You guys are rating? Interesting. I felt like when I watched them, it was always 7 that stood out the most. But yeah, I'm just honestly, I only probably watched like what 2 best of 3s from them this year. I can't really talk. So chat, what role was Sim playing? Duelist. What role was? I think I'm just confusing Sim and 7. Dude, does that roster not sound pretty good then? Kings, Phoenix, and Forsaken's Neon, they could run it back. I think double Duelist is pretty open at the moment. It depends, and then what? Depends, because you kind of have to do a solo initiator, and they've pretty much wrecked the 2 solo initiators that you would go to that can like flex pretty hard without you having to do a lot of thinking. Right, Gecko, Sky are like the kind of solos where you don't have to do too much thinking, but they kind of got nerfed a little bit, so you might have to lean into a fade. And then you got the flashes from Phoenix. Like double Duelist with fades being the solo initiator these days might be alright. PRX winning it all. There's probably some good... I think if you're PRX at the moment, and I know they've probably been in the off-season leaning pretty heavy into more like traditional roles of like Info Sentinel and Info Initiator, and I still think they'll need that. But I do think they can lean heavier into a double Duelist, and it make more sense than maybe it was making. Like if I'm PRX, I do probably just heavy lean into Neon. But I'm a big Neon Fade believer. I think these 2 are the one. How do you think Crystal will perform in Tier 1? Hopefully pretty good. I mean, he frags out heavy for Tier 2 and IGLs. He's rooming with GE, right? I think GE, I think it's a budget team. Like, they're on like a strict budget. I think they did really good considering that. I think roster-wise, budget-wise, they did really good. But yeah, we'll see. You never really know how Tier 1 translates into... Sorry, Tier 2 translates into Tier 1. You also got to remember that the... I would say Pacific 2023 Tier 2 wasn't crazy strong when he put up numbers. And then I would say that China Tier 2 this year wasn't that strong either. So he's put up pretty good numbers against not the best Tier 2 regions at the time. You got to bear that in mind. But I do think that he's a good player. And honestly, I really like the guy, so I hope he does well. I guess I'm just saying it's unproven. Runner sign for Giant X.
Look at the positioning here right now as well.
I feel, dude, all of the EMEA teams apart from, what are we saying, Fnatic and Na'Vi maybe didn't get an upgrade. And honestly, what we saw from the last split 2 of Na'Vi, it is an upgrade. If we actually go off of like results, it definitely is an upgrade. Because split 2 Na'Vi looked horrendous. So yeah, but most EMEA teams got an upgrade. I think Sayf will be a good IGL. I think so. I just hope that it all... the vibes are good. I think that's going to be a main thing for this team. Like, if people start getting a bit too serious, a bit too angry, I could see it snowballing. But from what Bacon says, and Bacon's worked the most with Sayf out of the people that I know, He says that he's insanely smart. So
having a great time being here. They're not
as long as he works hard, it should be fine. I think a lot will come down to the coach as well. So
over scrimming for an event like this.
but it's like what I said on Plat Chat. We're so tainted from NRG looking bad that we don't really know. But you got to look at teams that hadn't had IGLs in the past. They never looked as bad as NRG. NRG's in theory just like a should be once in a blue moon failure. You don't believe in the Sayf IGL? I think I mean it's fully down to the player, I guess. It's fully down to the player and the coaches. I'm trying to think of like Cham, I think of any other team that didn't really have like a proper IGL. You got PRX, you got Old Liquid, you got NRG, which was trying new IGL, and then we have KCorp. Is there any other? 2023 Sentinels. Wait, who is that IGL for this? Marved? Yeah, we can include that. So what are we saying? The IGLs of unproven IGLs. Oh, I don't know, chat. We could say KCorp 2024 as well. 2023, 2024, right? Magnum was the IGL? Yeah, but so this is like what? So this is no real IGL. This is Scream, so play it into IGL. This is Marved, play it into IGL. This is play it into IGL Ethan. And KCorp was play it into IGL Magnum. So I guess no real IGL has worked, and everyone put into an IGL role has kind of failed. To be fair, when we look at it. Nats. Liquid 2024 Nats.
That's the thing. It's also when you're playing up against.
We've got like what 4 games though.
Where you also are running that kill
EDG.
as well for G2.
EDG, yeah, EDG was a success.
And then you have
It was nothing. Sorry. I mean, does EDG count? Yeah, I guess it does. Nobody had an IGL before, right? PRX Mako. Stacks. This has actually been done a lot of times, to be fair. So out of all of these, is it like honestly, Liquid looked okay with Nats. EDG looked okay. Liquid looked good for like what, half? Sometimes we'll put a question mark. PRX looked pretty good as well in the similar years. Majority of the time it fails, I guess, is what we're saying.
Actually, kind of surprised that we don't see
DRX did come 5th to 6th with a team that honestly I don't think should have looked that good. So I would say that DRX was probably a success. So maybe it's like a 50-50 chat. I think then it just comes down to again the players and the coaches. Scream would farm this meta. Yeah, I think stats-wise he's the best Phoenix in the world, right? Close, because Victor's probably a close second, and then Jing is probably a close third. Stats-wise, Phoenix, I guess. But yeah, the meta, you could definitely make someone like Scream work. How many people play Phoenix? Depends what year you're in, man. This year, not many. You got like 2. You got like 2 years back. You got a few more. You got like 5 to 10. And the rate seems like you'd have a 6 Phoenix. Oh, there'll be loads of people that have a good Phoenix. Just that not many people used them back in the day. The Phoenix changes are great, though. I will say that. I think it will probably get a nerf more because of ranked, and like the nerf will obviously be the ult going up by 1. But I'm thinking that's more ranked than pro play. Yeah, I would definitely try. I'm trying to think of a comp that works like on most maps. If you wanted to do double duelist, like Astra, Astra Fade, Phoenix, Neon, Cypher. You just run that on every map. Obviously it doesn't work on every map, but it's like a solid all-round comp. My KCorp not as good in the second half of the season. Just the format change really messed them up. Like they're good with They're good in like double elim tournaments where you only show like a maximum. You probably like in a double elim format. If we just look at kickoff, you're probably only likely going to play one map 4 times. You can normally have a comp that is good for like 4, and then when you're playing in a season, you're showing your map like 6, 7 times, and then you're going to LAN and using potentially the same comp that many times. It doesn't really work that well. So it was more of a format thing for KCorp. I think G2 will be top 4 in America. Yeah. I think that's a no doubt. I think people will probably put G2 at the top of their list of where they think most teams are going to perform. They got an upgrade and they looked good last year. What do you think of NRG, 100 Thieves, and Sen compared to G2? Out of those 3, I would say Sen has the best team on paper. And NRG, 100 Thieves are like 3rd, 4th upset teams. But then you got to look at like what Lev's doing, and we got to look at MiBR, and then even EG kind of looks alright. NRG is the worst, you think, out of that? If we start going to double Duelist, I'm not sure it suits them too well. Who would be the second Duelist in that team? Ethan? Ethan could just Yoru heavy? That's true. Ethan can kind of play everything, to be honest. Yeah, honestly, maybe you're right. Maybe they're pretty flexy, that team. Why'd you put weight on double Duelist? I'm not putting too much weight on double Duelist, but it feels like that's where Riot want it to go. I mean, I think if Neon doesn't get nerfed, then... But if I don't know, it's very open, I guess is what I'm saying. But I think Phoenix is pretty strong. Phoenix and Neon right now feel very strong. And then you have the flashes. But then you can get away with single initiator. That's the good thing about Phoenix. It's cool, man. We're in a good spot for next year, chat. It's open. It's very open. I feel like the only agent that's majorly out of control is Neon. It's like the only agent that I really think strongly needs enough. I'm glad that Sayf getting enough as well, but that also means that Neon gets a little bit stronger. Team do you think will be immune to meta? Dude, it's the most open. It's the most open the game's ever been. You can play whatever you want. It's a good thing? Oh yeah, it's a great thing. Like, all it takes is like one team, like EG, to just play Chamber every single map and have Ye dropping 35s every single game for just people to go, hold up. Should we be playing this now? Like, it's only going to take like a couple of games for people to be like, hold up. Should we be doing this? And that could happen multiple times for multiple comps. It's pretty cool.
Sure, you've got a lockdown here.
Double Sentinels viable this meta? This is what I mean, everything's. Double Sentinel, like all of them. Double Initiator, double Controller, double Duelist. Like it's all open. It's sick. They've done a really good job of balancing the game apart from Neon, but that's also okay for a little bit, I think, just because it's good to watch. Is Neon good outside of Lotus and Sunset? If I was in a team right now, I'd force Neon on every map apart from Ascent. And the only reason I'm not forcing it on Ascent is just to save time, because I think it would probably work pretty well on Ascent. Just the fact that the normal comp is so good. You see the Natank Lev rumor? Natank, wait, Natank to Lev? Nah, that's not a thing, right? There's a lot of other people you would pick up before that. That's the actual rumor. Wait, what? Is that they're literally just looking at the Phoenix meta. And they're going, yeah. Is he good? No, he's good. I'm not sure he's like import signing good. If Fnatic underperform again next year, will Fnatic replace Boaster with a fragging IGL, or will they build around him? It's up to him, man. He has options. It's wherever his mindset is at. He can do whatever he wants. He's good enough to be in a top team that can pretty much consistently have good performances. But it depends how much he wants to win. He has some good options, man. He'll be successful in pretty much everything that he tries to do. So, my dream team. Not sure. My dream team's
Jett
hard,
that
man.
opportunity to get some
I
better
don't even know who would
plays
be the
in when
IGL
we
these
know that
days.
the compositions that have been run have been fairly consistent.
Do you know what?
and
Duelist-wise,
obviously
I'd probably
the
pick Zekken these
protocols
days.
that they're trying to
I
run
think Zekken
in
is
the
probably the
server
best
as
duelist at the
well.
moment.
So I'm really curious to see if we are
Or
going
like,
to
at least like one of the
see
most
Sentinel that we
consistent that
do
works well in
expect
the
to come out
system.
here on Bind, or if any
So I would
adjustments
probably
will be made by
have,
other
I would
sides.
probably have Zekken there,
I don't think we
because I think
saw
he's
the
great.
Jogamo that maybe we were expecting to get on
And then,
Yeah, slow start.
where do you go with the other four?
It took him a while to get going. There was the one round
Probably,
where GX had,
probably less as
aggressed on
my
the mound, and
Sentinel.
Jogamo killed through. So,
When ever impressed with
GX
the Zekken Jet,
shutting him
never needs to
down
play
has
Jet though, that's the
certainly
good thing right now.
done wonders for them. I mean, Trent,
Like, you can
Valor,
get away without
Mimi,
playing Jet for
Mimi
sure.
at home
Leo?
is
Yeah, I would probably go for
representing
Leo.
by the pile of,
Then Smokes. Wait, have I got an IGL? Oh, really? Smokes, like what, Karen? Or maybe even Boo these days if you want like a consistent good IGL that frags. Like Boo isn't the worst choice. Valon's pretty underrated. I would probably say Boo, maybe.
You know, you also have Vanya.
Boo seems to work well with like the crazy cracked like kids, I guess, younger kids. The best Sentinel? Don't know, in my opinion it's still less. Like that's kind of where I'm at is best Sentinel, but there's so many good ones, man. Benji had a crazy good year. Meteor had an insane year. Alpha's like one of the most mechanically gifted, but I don't know. I still think it is less, but obviously last year was just a shocker from just that team in general. Benji has some of the best like first bullet aim we've seen. My opinion on Kraxen and a captain, both really good. And I'm surprised that Foot didn't lean more heavy into KO last year. That's like my one issue with all of Foot last year was they should have dominated at least EMEA last year in my opinion. And for some reason they went away from KO. But no joke, they win every single time this guy plays KO. And they had all of this stuff, and they could have rinsed and repeated their 2023 and played it in 2024. And I think they would have had a better year than they did. Why did they pick up Zeus? I don't really know the insides of it. But I mean, Zeus is very good, though. I think Fnatic could have won all 3 internationals in 2023 if they had more time and rest to prepare. I mean, I think they got a good amount of rest. But was that not... They not have last chance qualifier? It might have been better if that stuff was closer together, to be honest with you. I also think that they were in that spot where I need to okay, I'm kind of flaming past EMEA teams, so it doesn't really go for like everyone, but there's kind of only two. So EMEA kind of suck at new maps unless Heretics this year or Fnatic like show people how to do the good, like how to play the new maps. So 2023 Fnatic dominated Lotus and everyone in EMEA sucked at Lotus apart from them, and so they kind of thought that Lotus was maybe a little bit better, so they kind of went into champs thinking that they had an insane Lotus when actually EMEA teams made them think they're a little bit better than they are. That's my opinion on it. And I think no matter what, it was always going to get exposed. So I don't think so, because I think they would have just always bought that. They also had a good amount of time with last chance qualifier. I got the NA visa. No, trust me, EMEA teams historically, there's only 2 teams that are good with new maps in EMEA. Fnatic, Lotus, Proven, Pearl. Fnatic didn't play it, so they sucked at it. Sunset, every EMEA team apart from Heretics were good at it. They showed everyone how to play it. Like if Heretics, and that's only fresh from this year, basically if Fnatic don't show teams how to play the map in EMEA, then people just suck at it. Navi's Pearl, Navi had the best Pearl in the EMEA, yeah, I'll give it that. Still wasn't, like, still, if you look at how the majority of EMEA teams played these maps, they were awful. What did I do before Valorant? So I used to, well, if we go all the way back to when like the first bit of traveling started, I used to do
really
You know when
humble
like
about
the
it in
new,
his
I used to do
interviews.
events for
I'm like,
Xbox
yeah,
and
I don't do
PlayStation and
anything
like
too
PC
crazy.
games
I keep
basically.
it
So
pretty
like say the new
simple.
Call of Duty came out, we used to go travel to
Simple's
like
working, and
places
that's how he
and
wants
do
to
all like the
label
press
it.
shows and show off the new Call of Duty. Like this right now is in Paris Games Week. I think I've done 3 of these. But like you bring the new game and you show it off, and it's just like a convention basically, and people can try out the game. That's what I used to do. Then I used to do observing. Then obviously you have to travel to live events to do observing. And then after that I started doing this as well. So coaching just became a lot of traveling basically. To have a degree? Nah, I just went straight into that. It was a pretty decent job. But we did loads of other stuff. Like we used to travel to like universities and stuff, and like it was loads of stuff. Like, we used to show off like Windows PCs and stuff like that. It was loads of random stuff. What is that job title? It was basically freelance events manager. It is kind of like how we used to do it, but it differed a lot. It differed from like literally just being on-site tech support to actually just like you're in control of this live event and then rigging it, doing the event, and then de-rigging. What game did I used to observe? CS. But I did Overwatch and Rocket League as well. At least some little events, but mainly CS. Was I any good? I like to think I was good. Yeah. I'm pretty confident. I was at least in the top 3. At least in the top 3. Better than Prius? Most people in chat would pick it up and be better than Prius. You gotta stop comparing me to the Sapphires of the world. How much did you study to do Overwatch and Rocket League? A good amount. I spoke to a lot of people, especially with Rocket League. I spoke to a lot of people there, but their whole client thing was messed up, so it wasn't like the best event. I did it for is it NBC? I can't remember. Whatever the American TV channel is there. It was them who run it, so that was pretty cool.
I know we keep saying that they
And then
look
Overwatch
electric
was
right
good
now,
until
but the vibes, the energy from them.
Overwatch
just
is
looks so
good until Blizzard got properly involved.
Some completely
Did an Overwatch World Cup? I did 2 Overwatch World Cups. I think I did the first one, and then I did 2 years after or a year after. And I only did the second one to like help out a friend really. Yeah, Nightmares. It's not great.
You guys gotta rework those.
It was a lot better when we used to do. Originally, when we did Overwatch, we had, dude, it was sick. We had 4 PCs. We had 6 PCs. This is how we did it originally. And then we had me doing these, and then Jackie doing these. And it was like overview, first person, overview. We just like flew around and just switched each time in between us. It was pretty cool. And then when we went to actual Blizzard, they banned all of these with different people, and then they had one person who would pick between all of these, and it turned into an absolute disaster because everyone felt like their shot was priority, so they were just all shouting at this guy. So it just didn't work. But I tried to warn them, but
like map 4, I mean, good luck.
they're just different out there.